Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot. This reading is for the new moon, which is in Cancer, and it takes place, it takes place on July 17th, which is Monday. Sorry, it's late. And I believe, I actually printed this out so we could look at the astrology. Sorry, excuse my voice, I have allergies today. It occurs at about 2:31 p.m. New York time in the U.S. So if you're adjust your time for whether you're east or west of New York, I just wanted to show you this because we have an amazing thing going on in the sky right now. And I'm sorry my camera isn't better here. That's not looking as good as I thought, but I have no control over the size. But what we have, how am I going to do this? I can't point. A little major problem here. Okay, we have, I'll try to do this. Let's see if I can. Okay, here's the sun and the moon together. Well, this is turning out great, isn't it? I can't even focus. The sun and the moon are together in Cancer, and they are opposite. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. What I wanted to show you was we have a grand cross in the sky. So we have the sun and the moon together in Cancer. They are opposite, not exactly, because they're at 24 degrees. Pluto is at, you can't even see that. I'm sorry, 29 degrees Capricorn. You're just going to have to take my word for it. And for some reason, the nodes came out wrong on here, but they were right on the other chart. But it was, maybe I should have done that one. Perhaps the planets were smaller and you could have seen it better. Anyway, I'm too tired to start over. So the North Node is in Aries at 29 degrees because it's just entering Aries. And remember, the moon's nodes go backwards, always. Or almost always. That's the way they move, unlike the planets. So the North Node, which is your destiny, what you're supposed to be moving toward, it's just entering Aries. It's at 29 degrees, so it's going to move through Aries from the back to the front, from the last degree to the first. And the South Node, which is where we're coming from, where our fate has already taken us, where we're comfortable, is just entering Libra at 29 degrees, and then it's going to move, through, for the next year and a half, it's going to move through to 0 degrees of Libra, and the North Node's going to move through Aries. So I wrote something out, I pulled some cards, but I wrote something out because this is a very interesting new moon. I don't need to hold that. I'm sorry, I'm all messed up. It's late. This is just so much to talk about, and I realize I just wrote too much here, but I wanted to talk about, before I show you the cards, and sorry about my voice, the new moon in Cancer is opposite Pluto in Capricorn, okay? So the new moon is when the moon and the sun are together, and you can't see the moon, so it's dark. But anyway, the moon and the sun are in Cancer, which represents our emotional needs, or where we feel secure emotionally, or what we need to feel secure emotionally, or how we were nurtured, or how we nurture other people. Okay, and so these are opposite Pluto, which is down here in Capricorn. And Capricorn rules the father. Cancer's the mother. Typically, Pluto's the father. But Pluto also rules death and rebirth. So it means it's challenging. It's bringing up from the subconscious. Pluto rules the subconscious. It's challenging what we rely on that makes us feel like our needs are being met emotionally. So, and Capricorn also rules structures of all kinds, including even our skeletons inside ourselves. So it's the things that we rely on consciously or subconsciously that are outside of ourselves. So that would include other people, organizations, governments, father figure energy, any kind of masculine energy, anything that's structured, that makes us feel secure in the outer that we might not even realize we rely on, because Pluto rules the subconscious. And it's down here in Capricorn at the very tail end, 29 degrees, which you can't see because it's flat, sorry. So what's happening now is that anything that we subconsciously rely on that has to do with any kind of structure is opposite our instinctive, emotional, maternal needs. And when I say maternal, I mean anything that makes you feel nurtured or mothered. It doesn't have to be your real mother, but just anything you feel you can go to and be emotionally held and supported is being challenged by what you rely on in the outer. So it's almost as if we're looking into a mirror to discover what we've always relied on internally and emotionally, and also what we rely on for our outer security as well. And then those two things kind of, even though they're opposite each other, they kind of become one because they're in the mirror. I hope I'm not sounding insane here. You might discover that you've always relied on yourself, but you didn't know it. You might discover you've always relied on other people, especially in a relationship, and especially one in which the other person felt like a mother or a father to you, or someone, that could be like friends, actual parents, siblings, romantic partners, anybody that you feel nurtured by or did in the past. And you could also realize that nothing makes you feel secure. You could feel very insecure right now. And you might discover something about your sense of emotional security and how it relates to the security that you believe in that's outside of yourself. So, like, you might be discovering that you feel like you can or cannot rely on your government, a church you belong to, any organization that you rely on, or structure that gives you a sense of being propped up and stabilized. Okay, so it's being challenged right now. So you're going to discover within your subconscious that you either think, oh my gosh, I really, really rely on that, and now it's not feeling so stable. Or you just might be surprised and realize, oh my gosh, I don't really feel like I can rely on anything. But it's about what you rely on subconsciously. It's gonna come to your consciousness, I think, with this new moon in Cancer being opposite Pluto. So this is a really good time to reflect on what security, both inner and outer, really mean to you. Okay, so you cannot see what you're relying on if you're enmeshed with it, or like if you're codependent. So this is, I think that what this is going to do is this is going to allow us this mirroring effect so that we can see or feel or know what we've been relying on that we didn't really realize that we're relying on, if that makes any sense. Because in order to be seen, there has to be a division, just like what I was talking about the moon. That's when we have the full moon, is when the sun and the moon are opposite. Right now we have a new moon, so they're together. So your subconscious and your conscious are together, but they're opposite the planet that rules your subconscious. Because the moon is really about your emotional needs. It does rule the unconscious somewhat. But Pluto is really the lord of the underworld. So I hope I'm not being too confusing here. But anyway, what's happening now is they are squaring the nodes of fate. So the south node is what you're familiar with, where you're coming from, what you've already learned, where you're comfortable. And the north nodes, which are just moving into Aries, is where you need to forge a new path. Okay? So Libra rules our relationships with others, and Aries rules our sense of self and our relationship with ourself. So we're meant to be moving right now towards taking care of ourselves. So in other words, it's time right now to put your own needs first, even if you're not used to doing that, even if you don't really know what your own needs are. It's time to discover what they are and how you can meet them. And that doesn't mean you have to meet them all by yourself, but you have to define who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't help anybody else anyway. You probably already know that. But this is really, with the nodes moving into, the north node moving into Aries like this, it's really the time to figure out, who am I? What do I want? Because Aries rules desire. And how do I get that? And again, you don't want to discount other people's needs, but if you're a people pleaser, or you know, just used to meeting other people's needs and not your own, this could be a really difficult change for you, because it's telling you, okay, you've already done that. You've already met other people's needs. How about meeting your own? How about discovering what your own needs are? So you might discover where you have unmet needs, or you could discover where you have needs that have been filled and how they were filled. But since it's a new moon, it's a beginning, which implies an ending, because you can't have a beginning without an ending. So something is closing out and it's beginning in the sign of being nurtured. And since it's squaring the nodes here, and if you'll notice, the nodes are at 29 degrees, and so is Pluto. So there's an exact T-square is what we call it, where the north node is squaring Pluto, the south node is exactly squaring Pluto. So Pluto is squaring the node. So something subconscious in the sign of structure and stability is being squared by the nodes, your past, your future. And again, it's opposite, not exactly, but close enough, 24 degrees, it's opposite the new moon. So we've got a grand cross in the sky, which is really, really powerful. So what I'm trying to say is basically, you know, this is really about ourselves. How do we find out what we need and put ourselves first? And of course, again, you don't want to cut off everybody else in Libra, because, you know, and it looks like actually probably people watching this are probably pretty empathic, because we're moving away from that energy, moving away from filling other people's needs. And again, I'm not saying don't take other people's needs into account. I would never say that. So anyway, this whole grand cross it's you know, it's like whoosh, whoosh. It's making a literal cross in the sky. Well, literal and not literally, I guess, but with the angles, the energy is. So anyway, it's very powerful. I hope that's not too confusing, and I'm sorry. Next time I'll print it out more small so you can see it better. I know I should have done this earlier, but anyway. So when I drew the cards tonight, I only drew 4 because I felt like I was going to be talking too much about the astrology. And this energy is going to last for several days. This is not going to be like a one-night thing, okay? It's not a one-night stand. This is going to be since the nodes are changing, this is going to reverberate for quite some time. Because like I said, they stay in these signs for a year and a half. So, but this grand cross is not going to last too long. But the feeling that it gives you and what it sets in motion could last for a long time. So I do 4 cards, and I ask the question kind of like, what can help us deal with this extremely intense energy? Because I'm telling you, if you're not feeling intense energy, you're asleep, because it is very intense. So first I drew the star. Why is it blurry? Oh gosh, I hate it when it does that. I apologize. I haven't set up my new iPad yet. Ah, darn. Okay, we have a very blurry star. This is Aquarius energy. So what this is telling me is, number 1, we are blessed. You will be given some divine help here. And also it's telling me that since this rules Aquarius, one thing you can do is try to be objective. Try to step away from whatever situation you're in. Don't get overwhelmed by your emotions. Try to be a little bit objective and step back and observe. That's one way to get out of that feeling of, you know, being overwhelmed by your emotions. Try to use your logical mind and know that you are blessed. Then I drew the Knight of Cups, and he's also coming in with a blessing. And he's a knight who's very gentle and kind, and he brings in a gift. Cups are emotions. So, you know, the moon's in Cancer, which is emotions. So here comes an offer of help. So we are twice blessed. We are blessed from above, divinely, and we are also blessed on the earth plane. Someone's going to help you on an emotional level. Gosh, I'm sorry, these are so blurry. I don't understand why this does this sometimes, really. Then we get the Ace of Cups, and this is another blessing card. This is coming from above. We have divine energy. Can you see the dove bringing in the divine energy? There's the cross. There's the grand cross that we have. Looks just like our chart there. And it's filling our cup and it's overflowing. Our cup overfloweth. So we have more divine blessings. So this emotional energy that's coming in, even though it may feel really difficult, and I think it's going to, if it hasn't already, it's going to, is ultimately for your benefit. And the reason I'm saying that is because the fourth card I drew is the Empress, which is the mother card of the tarot. She's the mother of the tarot. And the moon is in Cancer, the mother. So, and this is very grounded energy. And right now, Uranus, which rules Aquarius. So this is Uranian energy. Uranus rules Aquarius. And Uranus is in Taurus. And this is the sign for Taurus, the Empress. So Taurus is a feminine sign. So, so this is telling me that although we are going to be experiencing some very difficult introspection and emotional energy, and again, since the South nodes are in Libra, this could be a difficult relationship as well that we need to, deal with. And since the moon is in Cancer, and Cancer is nurturing, we could be taking care of someone. This could relate to someone that you are literally caring for. Or maybe it's someone you cared for in the past, but someone that you've nurtured or are nurturing. You're dealing with some subconscious stuff about that. But ultimately, it's good. Ultimately, something really good is going to come out of this. You will be blessed by this new moon, even though it's going to feel really difficult. Okay, I will stop there because I know I'm going on and on. This is already long. Let me pull just a couple of, or do I want, yeah, let's get some clarity. I was going to say I could pull a fairy card, but I think tonight, okay, we got this last time, a change in the wind. Absolutely, when the moon's nodes change signs, there is definitely a change in the wind. Definitely, so definitely. And I'm just going to take one more. Okay. And I think we got this a couple times ago too. Observer. And again, this is exactly what I said. The best way to deal with this overwhelming emotional energy is to try to step back. And this rules Aquarius, which is a very detached, thinking sign. I'm not saying they're not kind. They're very kind, but usually in a non-emotional way, more in a mental way. So try to step back and observe your emotions. Don't get swallowed up by them, okay? So big changes here, lots of emotion. Don't get swallowed up. We are blessed. And this may be making you think about, like I said, who mothered you in your life? It didn't have to be your real mother. And this can also be telling us to mother ourselves. Since the node's moving into Aries, this is all about taking care of ourselves. As I said, discovering what you need, how to fill your needs. This is a good time to parent yourself, okay? Okay, thank you for listening. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Have a great new moon. I think it's going to be a tough one, but ultimately, remember, it's for your own good. I hate it when people say that. No, it's really for everyone's good. Okay, thank you. Good night. Blessings.